Champions Cup is underway, folks, and La Rochelle managed to get themselves an away win, 24 points to 20 over Bath, in some pretty horrendous weather. It was a bizarre one. Me sitting here, early summer New Zealand shorts and a t-shirt to watch it absolutely bucket down in Bath. It looked horrendous on camera. And from my experience, anytime you've been to a game with horrendous rain and then seen it on camera, the on-camera stuff doesn't look as bad as the actual rain. So if it looked that bad on camera, I'm pretty sure people who've been there are absolutely soaked from head to toe because it seemed torrential. But good win for the La Rochelle boys based on a pretty solid first half where they scored 3 tries. Bath got 2 in the second, but not quite enough. They'll be a little bit frustrated with some errors towards the end of the second half, which maybe they didn't convert on. But we'll go through some of the key events and the stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. It is good to have the Champions Cup back underway. Good to see my man Ihaya West and Tawera Kubalo as well back in action. A couple of New Zealand lads who have been away from New Zealand for a long time. Both of them been with La Rochelle for a fair few years now too, but didn't start that well for their boys because in that wet weather, Brice Dulin, who didn't have his best game for La Rochelle, knocked on the first kick sent his way, again in torrential rain, so it's hard to blame him, but you still got to catch him. His dropping of that ball led to a chance for the Bath boys to attack from a scrum. Went through a bunch of phases close range. The La Rochelle defence held, but it did concede a penalty, which Finn Russell slotted to give the Bath lads a 3-0 lead. But that's the only lead they held of the game, because La Rochelle then opened up with 3 tries. I mean, they did shut down the second Bath attack with Dante getting himself over the ball, and that was maybe, again, one of the kind of key factors in this game. Key moments. The La Rochelle boys getting themselves turnovers. Dante got that one. And that was maybe a bit of a momentum shift because basically on this 18th minute try, it was probably, I think, La Rochelle's first real chance in the Bath 22. It was Kubalo with a quick tap from a penalty, and then Giroud, close range, able to burrow over, 7 points to 3. Commentators kind of mentioning, man, this guy made his debut for France not too long ago, but of all the things, that guy's name associated with his debut is maybe not the most kind of high-profile one, with kind of court action still ongoing in Argentina, but that's beside the point. He managed to get himself a try in this game. So 7 points to 3, La Rochelle ahead. Bit of handbags not too long later on, and we saw a bit of pushing and shoving a few times in this game. Will Skelton seemed to be absolutely finding it hilarious that 2 of the smaller lads were kind of pushing and shoving each other. He managed to break up the first one, but I think he was warned a bit later for getting involved for a second one. But a bit of handbags shows there's some feeling in this game. And then another Bath penalty conceded and La Rochelle punished is maybe my favourite try of the game, because it is just the maul of all mauls. Reda Wardy, the big prop, is able to finish it off. They had some backs in there. It was just a hell of a maul. It got a big head of steam up. It just crunched through the Bath defenders. To be fair, I think they contested that line out, so maybe their maul defence wasn't set that well. 14 points to 0 though. Bath did get a penalty basically straight back in reply from the breakdown, which was good to make it 14 points to 6, so the deficit is cut. But then basically from the restart, Bath conceded their own penalty. Blocking lines, from the receipt of the kick, which is a pretty soft one, but the referees are being very hard on that kind of thing in recent times. And that one, you feel like the Kubalo try is kind of set up by the Wardy try, because they got this massive maul try only a few minutes earlier. When they get this penalty, La Rochelle, they opt for touch, and they don't set for the maul, but Bath is prepped for the maul based on how well that last one has gone. So Kubalo, they pop it to him. I think it's Giroud who wins the line out, pops it down to Kubalo, who just snipes at the side and is basically able to go over untouched. So great shift in the way they play. 21-6, that's the halftime lead. The only thing really going wrong for La Rochelle is they keep getting pinged at scrum time. Antonio's not happy with it, but Andrew Brace, the referee, is seeing it not his way. So that did give Bath one chance before half-time to potentially attack and get some more points on the board when they did win a scrum penalty, but Dunn got pinged for a dummy throw at the line-out. So a pretty soft way to end the half for Bath. They've had more ball, more territory. The run meters are pretty low in the rain, And Bath's tackle count, like tackle percent, is like 76, which is too low. La Rochelle at 89. There's been a fair few kicks, 14 from each side in the first half. It's piddling down, so it absolutely makes sense. Second half starts, both sides a few errors. La Rochelle kick it out on the full, which gives Bath a chance, but then later on, de Glanville marks a ball in his own 22 and then steps forward. So Ihaya West's presence of mind to know that, he's fair game now that he's stepped forward, so he goes in for a tackle on him to put some pressure on. But no real kind of early points until Bath get their first try. And it's a maul. It is a day for maul tries, given the weather. The backs got in there. And that try from Tom Dunn really brought the crowd into the game, because I guess they were wet and watching their team get pretty well beaten up until that point. So that really got things firing, and that got the handbags back going as well. A bit more pushing and shoving after that one, but it was a good moment in the game, because it looked like it was just kind of petering out in the wet up until that point. And good conversion from Finn Russell. It looked like he'd pushed it wide, but it just drew back in with the wind. So really, really solid kick from him. 21-13, pretty much back to game on, although they did give away a croc roll penalty pretty much straight after scoring points, which is a bit of a frustrating one for Van Graan, I suppose, in charge of Bath, seeing his team kind of consistently muck up after scoring points. They were lucky, though, because Ihaya West, being a familiar guy from back in the days when he played for My Blues, manages to kick at least one kind of bad shot at goal per game. I know he's improved a lot since he left New Zealand, but that's a very familiar sight for me to see him hit the post. In the conditions, maybe I'm being a bit hard on him, but he hit the post with a kickable penalty, so Bath kind of get a bit of a let-off from that one. And then a few minutes later, again, the crowd get back involved. Jack Knoll for La Rochelle puts in a bit of a kind of late shoulder, but the referee determines that he and the Bath player, I think it was Muir, kind of just ran into each other. The crowd didn't like it, but they did like it, because basically a minute later, and I guess the crowd will think it's justice for the missed shoulder, Finn Russell puts a little dinking kick through just to basically put the La Rochelle guys under pressure in their own 22, and it rolls into the end goal. Tawera Kubalo's trying to slap the thing down to at least force it to get a dropout, but the TMO rules that he's only knocked it backwards. He hasn't forced it. So then Rue is able to get a hand on it, and they ruled that he has forced it. They thought it was Pepper, but I think it was Rue who got his hand to it. I've seen different sites credit the try to different guys, but I'm pretty sure it was Rue's hand, so did the commentary team. So, yeah, they give that try to the Bath lads. Now it's a 1-point game. Kind of missed opportunity, and the crowd were, as I said, seemingly kind of cheering for the justice of the missed opportunity earlier. So 21-20, proper game on, considering the score at half-time. It was like 21-6. Big old comeback from the Bath lads. Although, not long after the restart, they conceded a penalty. So, Ihaya West was able to slot that one, 24-20. That is the final scoring of the game. La Rochelle wouldn't concede anymore or score anymore. That was the end of the scoring, like I said. But then Bath did have some chances, but I feel like mucked up a few. Pepper had a late shoulder in, which gave La Rochelle kind of an easy exit when they were under pressure down their own end, because he conceded that penalty. Bath had a 75th minute attacking line-out, which didn't go straight, which is a big let-off. And then when Bath had a bunch of phases around the 22 for La Rochelle, Bottier was able to get in and win that breakdown penalty, similar to Dante at the start of the first half. And finally, on the 80th minute, La Rochelle were able to get a bit of pay at scrum time, where they won a penalty, which they duly opted for touch to end the game rather than try to chase the bonus point. So 3 tries to 2. You'd say it's a fair enough victory for the La Rochelle boys based on their first half, but Bath certainly gave it a good crack in the second. Clean breaks finishes 2-1 to La Rochelle, so pretty low. It wasn't a day where guys were able to really get out in the open. La Rochelle had slightly more territory, Bath had more possession. The line-out percentages for both sides were pretty poor in some tough conditions, both in the 70s in terms of percentage. Bath gave away a few more penalties, 13-9. And they missed a few more tackles, 17-12. So the tackle percentages were 78, which is not great from Bath, whereas 89 for La Rochelle, who did have to make more tackles overall because they had less ball, but they missed fewer. So defensively, more on song. Kicks from hand was 38-36, which is a lot, but as I said, in the conditions, kind of to be expected. Aldreet had 4 defenders beaten and 17 tackles. Not a bad shift from him. Will Muir looked sharp on attack, beat 3 defenders. Miles Reid had 10 carries. But yeah, it is only a losing bonus point for the Bath lads. Bath are away to Benetton in their next Champions Cup match, whereas La Rochelle will continue their Premiership theme when they host Bristol. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts on the game. It's pretty wet, but it's beautiful sunshine here, so I'm going to go out and enjoy some of that. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game, and yes, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.